Welcome, everyone, to the January 28th, 2026 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. I'm Candace Breyer, Chairperson of the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Zoning Board of Appeals is a 9-person volunteer board nominated by the mayor and approved by City Council. First, we will hear from Planning Services, represented by John Barrett. Then the applicant or their representative will make their presentation. Applicants will have 5 minutes in which to make their presentation. Staff will keep time and will announce when 30 seconds are remaining. Public comment is available in person or remotely. We will first call on individuals present to address the board, then remote participants. To speak during a public hearing or during public comment remotely, press star 9 if listening by phone, or use the raise hand feature if viewing through the web link. For phone access, call 877-853-5247 and enter meeting ID 938-1648-1007. City staff will select callers that have raised their hand using the last 3 digits of your phone number or by name if available for those accessing through the web link. You will hear an automated announcement that the host is allowing you to speak. When speaking, please move to a quiet area and mute any television or background sounds. We may ask questions of either the city or the applicant. We will acknowledge any written comments received by the board. We will allow an appearing party to express their support or objections. The board will then discuss the appeal and formulate a motion to approve that appeal. 5 affirmative votes of the board will be required for an appeal to be granted. Finally, any qualified party who is aggrieved by a decision of the board can appeal that decision to the Washtenaw County Circuit Court on a timely basis. Roll call. Candace Breyer, I am here. Dharma Ekman.
Here.
Mike Daniel.
Here.
Drew Denson.
Here.
Dave Javardi.
Here.
Christina Glusak. Here. Patty Laskowski.
Here.
Roberta Sutton. Julie Weatherby.
Here.
We have a quorum. Moving on to approval of the agenda. Are there any comments on the agenda? If not, do we have a motion to approve the agenda? Mike, do you have support? Dharma, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to approval of minutes. In our packets, we had minutes from the December 3rd, 2025 ZBA meeting. Are there any comments, corrections, questions about those minutes? If not, do we have a motion to approve the December minutes? Drew, support?
Support.
Thank you, Dave. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to public hearings. First item on our agenda tonight is petition ZBA 25-0035, 1795 Sheridan Drive. Eric?
So good evening, everyone. I'm Eric Pradonic, zoning coordinator with the City of Ann Arbor. The approximately 0.6 acre subject property is zoned R1A single-family residential and is a corner lot located at the northeast intersection of Washtenaw Avenue and Sheridan Drive. Per section 5.18.2 of the Unified Development Code, any lot line abutting a public street is subject to the regulations pertaining to a front yard. In this case, the south lot line of the subject property is abutting Washtenaw Avenue, which is of course a public street, and it is therefore subject to the regulations pertaining to a front yard. Per section 5.26.2b, table 5.26-1 of the Unified Development Code, fences in front yards shall be no taller than 4 feet and no more than 50% opaque. However, the applicants have installed a 6-foot tall, 100% opaque fence along the south lot line abutting Washtenaw Avenue. As a result, the applicants are requesting a 2-foot and 50% variance from section 5.262.b, table 5.26-1 of the Unified Development Code to permit a 6-foot tall, 100% opaque fence to remain in a front yard along Washtenaw Avenue where 4 feet is the maximum height permitted and 50% is the maximum opacity permitted. We'll now go through a few slides to provide some additional context here. So this shows the zoning of the subject property as well as the surrounding zoning. This is a zoomed out aerial of the subject property. Then we have the zoomed in aerial image of the subject property. And here we have a survey of the subject property and then a survey that actually shows the segment of fence along Washtenaw at the south there, as you can see. Here we have a picture which would actually be looking east, I believe, down Washington Avenue at the fence. And this would also be looking in a easterly direction. East once again. This shows kind of some of the other fencing within the property's yard. This, I believe, is another one looking east in a little bit different set of conditions. Kind of an up close here at what the fence looks like. Then this one would be looking west from Washington Avenue. And then this is actually the segment that is more along the Sheridan Drive frontage of the property. And the applicant also has included a few photographs here that show kind of what the perspective is from their yard, showing some traffic stacked up here on Washtenaw. Some different perspectives on that, certainly one from across the street here. And that is about it as far as the photos go here. Yeah, and that's all I have by way of introduction. I would be glad to answer any questions to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Eric. Any questions? Dharma?
Considering this is already installed, how did it come to staff's attention?
We actually received a complaint through the city's formal complaint system.
Thank you.
Dave?
So if you go back to the slide of the fence along Sheridan, keep going, the fence.
This one here? Yeah, I think
I
this
don't
is-
think that's it, that one. Or, let's see.
This
Well,
would
yeah,
be-
here you go.
This would be fronting Washtenaw as well.
Right, so you see that little bit that is slotted, that isn't solid? Would a fence like that be compliant with our zoning code?
It would in that configuration, provided it were only 4 feet in height from grade, because it appears to be 50% opaque.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Eric? Yeah, Christina?
Yeah, I had a question. So I'm just trying to imagine where the orange line, not the orange line, sorry, with the more mature trees in the photo, where is that in relationship to the property line?
Those are right in front of the south property line along Washington Avenue.
Right in front of the south property. Okay. So their property line is outboard of that, you're saying, between the more mature trees and the sidewalk?
Yeah, so in between, like where this orange line would be on the survey and the sidewalk.
Yeah, and if you go back to where the trees, just want to put a picture to that, yeah, maybe the other photo, yeah, that's an okay one. Whoop. Yeah, so you're saying the property line is on the sidewalk side of those mature trees?
Correct.
Okay. Oops. I always lose the image here. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? All right, if the petitioner is here, now is your opportunity to speak. Please come forward, sign in, state your name. You'll have 5 minutes.
And we do have some slides. Can we present those?
Yeah, should be able to. There's a little USB fob under the podium there.
Will this work?
Not that one, actually. I believe it's, oh, you have your own computer? in this
Yeah.
case? Oh.
We also have a USB if that's easier.
Right here. You can plug it into here.
That would
You have a travel
probably-
drive?
I don't know if plugging another computer into
Yeah,
it work
we're gonna-
exactly. I don't, all bets could be off when that happens.
Let's see. If you open File Explorer, it should show it.
Yeah, USB drive. This one, yeah. Yep. And then fence appeal. Okay, thank you. Okay, great. Well, hello. Thank you so much to the board for the opportunity to speak with you all today. So although our address is along Sheridan Drive, our lot is located at an intersection where some of Ann Arbor's most extreme traffic conditions combine to make for difficult noise pollution and safety concerns for children. First, this corridor of Washtenaw Avenue has the highest traffic volume that goes through any residential area of the city. Second, it has the highest speed limit of Ann Arbor, 45 miles per hour, which drivers regularly exceed. Immediately west of our intersection, the traffic volume splits roughly in half between Washtenaw Avenue and Stadium Boulevard, and the speed limits drop. Zooming out to all of Ann Arbor, we can see that these conditions are unique to our intersection and corridor of Washtenaw Avenue, presenting safety concerns for raising a family. Finally, this particular intersection has Ann Arbor's highest density of traffic collisions. The city of Ann Arbor has recognized this as a problem. Individually, these conditions do not commonly exist throughout the city, but the combination of these conditions makes this area even more unique and challenging. We are therefore asking for a variance for fence height and opacity only along the side of our yard that borders Washtenaw Avenue, because the standard fence height of 4 feet and 50% opacity would pose safety concerns for children in our yard, and the excess noise from the traffic would limit use of our yard. It has been demonstrated in studies, as well as our personal experience, that children as young as 2 years old are quite capable of climbing 4-foot fences. It would be very hazardous if any child in our yard could climb the fence on Washtenaw, gaining unimpeded access to 6 lanes of traffic. The American Academy of Pediatrics has based their fence recommendation on studies like these, calling for fences without footholds around safety hazards like farms and pools. Obviously, we plan to be diligent parents, but it takes just a momentary lapse in attention to lose track of a child. For instance, receiving an emergency phone call, a delivery driver requesting a signature, or a dog pooping. Children may climb fences for a variety of reasons, including losing a ball, chasing a chipmunk, or trying to hide. A 6-foot, 100% opaque fence along the Washtenaw side of our yard would be very difficult to climb and reduce concerns for our child in our yard. They would still be able to climb over other parts of our yard, but this would be to a neighbor's yard on the much calmer Sheridan Drive, giving us more chances to intervene. It's not just child safety that would benefit from the variance. The noise pollution at this intersection can make it impractical to stay in the yard for long periods of time. Motorists speed up at the lighted intersection to try to catch the yellow light, and intersections are where the majority of honking and engine revving occurs. Many public health studies find that children are uniquely susceptible to the adverse effects of noise pollution. While the fence will not block all noise traffic, it will provide a noticeable improvement, giving us the opportunity to spend more time in our yard. Importantly, the neighborhood would not be affected by this fence because it borders no neighbors. It is on the edge of a residential zone and faces 6 lanes of highway traffic. As you can see from this map, across the street from us is public land. Further down the street, you find businesses, including planned development areas, Trader Joe's, and others. This is true to the east as well. Therefore, we are only asking for a variance on the side of our lot that borders Washtenaw Avenue. The rest of the fence line would conform to the standard fence rules so that our yard is completely visible from Sheridan Drive and from the neighboring houses. Modern public health practice recognizes the importance of hazard prevention. Nowadays, we teach our children not to play with knives, but we also put child-proof locks on our cabinets. We will teach our child not to climb shelves, but we will also install anti-topple anchors on all of our furniture. And because we live at an intersection with extreme traffic conditions, speeding, and collisions, we will teach our child not to wander into traffic, but we would also like to have safety prevention measures in place. A 6-foot opaque fence on the border with Washtenaw Avenue would provide such safety. Combined with the noise reduction, this is the minimum that would allow us reasonable use of our yard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. When you have a chance, can you sign in?
Yes.
Any questions for the petitioners? Christina?
What was the existing condition of the lot facing Washtenaw when you purchased the home, and when did you purchase the home? What year approximately?
2023, August. There was it's on the, what do you call it, the boundary survey. There was a roughly 4-foot fence, chain link, and that was at the end of its life. It collapsed, which prompted the new fence.
In the same location?
Roughly the same location. The new fence is actually corrects some boundary crossing that the old fence did, and now it's all contained within our lot lines.
Okay, thank you.
So one of those boundary surveys shows the new fence and the old fence.
Any other questions? Dave?
So when was this fence constructed?
Just this past year and during the summer.
During the summer? Okay. And there was no application made at that time for
Correct.
fence construction, you just put it in?
Right.
And did you work with a commercial fence company?
No. What's the
Any
appeal number?
questions?
I don't know, CPA 25.
Okay, thank you very much.
What was the appeal number that we need to put on here?
ZBA 25-0035. If there is anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this petition, now is your chance to do so. If you're here in person, please come forward. Anyone accessing remotely, please press *9 or use the raise hand button.
I am their neighbor to the north. My name is Shannon Schuler. I go away in the summer, and I came back and noticed the fence, and I thought it was a huge improvement to the neighborhood because I can even see the traffic on Washtenaw, and I'm 2 houses in, zooming by, and people run that light all the time. My husband goes to work, and he said, people just go even when it's the other color. So it's a dangerous intersection, and I think it would be a huge improvement if you would let them keep their fence.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Len Harding. I'm on the other corner of Sheridan and Washtenaw. I've been there since '77. I know what the traffic has developed over those years, and it's become much worse. Actually, the accident rate has probably dropped a little bit because the lights have changed, but it's still a very dangerous intersection, and both for pedestrians and for cars crossing. The fence, I think, is absolutely gorgeous. It really enhanced the property. The section along Washtenaw makes it much more visible for people on the bike path. Drivers can see them on the bike path much more easily than they can with the hedge that used to be there. Or if you think of it, the other side of Washtenaw, where you have the walkway in the public park, but the background is just woods. And seeing people against that woods is relatively difficult compared to seeing them along a nice fence that we now have. I would heartily endorse this fence. I hope you will allow it to stay the way it is. I think it's quite pretty, and I think it enhances the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's anyone remotely who wishes to speak, please press *9 or raise your hand.
There are no callers at this time.
Thank you, John. I will note we did receive 2 letters regarding this petition. We have a letter of support from Laura Thomas, as well as a letter of support from Sarah Adar, both neighboring properties, I believe. With that, our public hearing is closed and we're in discussion. Christina.
Sure. So I don't think I'll be in support of this application, and in looking at the response in item 5, that the conditions and circumstances request is based are not a self-imposed practical difficulty. I think, and their response was, we did not create the conditions that result in this corridor having one of the largest traffic volumes. I don't think that's a factor in our purview to determine if this should be approved for a variance. I feel like they ignored the proper channels to go through the city. I mean, anyone that's a homeowner in town should know what the process is, or at least ask a question of the city. It's a quick, easy phone call, and I feel like that dismissal of the process is unfortunate. It is a nice-looking fence. A lot of thought, it seems, went into designing it, but I will be voting against it because I just feel that we're forced into this situation. I actually think that a city solution may have, it could have been warranted for the city if it's such a dangerous intersection. I mean, this intersection has been it's for decades, it's been in existence. It's not like it's a new condition by any means. There's always been heavy traffic. There's always been an intersection of two roads there. And they purchased the property in 2023, so they knew what the conditions were around. So I feel like that should have been just under the due diligence of the family at the time of purchasing of the house. But I do think that the city could have provided some kind of solution to provide some kind of separation between traffic and the nearby residential neighborhood. Thanks.
Julie?
Yeah, I have to agree. The lot is not unusual. I live on a corner lot on a busy street. There's a lot of them, and I looked down. The fence is gorgeous, don't get me wrong. I walked by there today, and it's beautiful. But, there's a lot of fences along that stretch that are 50% opaque and 4 feet tall, because obviously those people paid attention to what the standards were. It's not a new situation. I agree that 45 miles per hour is too fast for any city road, so city council member, we can maybe address. But that is an existing condition and has been true. Our community norm is not to fence off our streets on major roads, and in other places, you do see big fences in front of lots on major roads. But that's not how we've done it here. And while I appreciate that their family conditions are changing for the better, exciting time, we can't make recommendations based on who lives in a property because it goes with the property. And so, while I am sympathetic to that, and I can absolutely understand why they would want that, there's also, that's why those houses are cheaper along Washtenaw. That's why, there's a lot of factors that go into this, and I don't see where there's any reason to give a variance. It's an existing condition, and I don't see that.
Dharma?
I'm glad to hear my colleagues speak because I guess I'm feeling pretty sympathetic to this request. The city doesn't control this stretch of road. It's actually controlled by the state. And so we're limited in what we can do, but I certainly understand the concerns of living next to a 45-mile-an-hour road with heavy traffic. And we do have similar conditions on Ann Arbor Saline, which is nearer to where I live. It's 45 miles an hour, and there are single-family homes along that stretch. I think what might be different in that situation, and you do see fences like this. I'm not sure the exact height, but you see them 100% opacity. Sorry, whatever, you can't see through them. And 6 feet tall. But I think the difference there is that it's their backyard. So that truly is the only difference, right, that we're considering the front yard, because I'm assuming that's where the front door is. Is that right?
No.
It's definitely.
No, it's
That's a corner lot.
It's simply because it abuts a public road. It's the frontage on the road that makes it subject to the front yard regulations.
there's a driveway? Is that what that means? Because I mean, there's
No.
houses with frontage on Ann Arbor, Celine.
That drives off
That
Sheridan.
drives on Sheridan.
Oh, because it's a corner lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, both are front yards.
That makes me even more sympathetic to this being a unique case then. So, I don't know how I'm gonna vote.
Dave?
I have to say, I'm torn on this one. I was by there today. It's a beautiful fence. You guys did a great job with the aesthetic value of the fence, and I think it's a real enhancement aesthetically. My feeling, and I travel along Washtenaw frequently into downtown to the campus, and there we've had fence requests for fences that didn't meet our guidelines along that stretch after you make that curve towards downtown. And they really, I'll tell you, some of those fences, they just don't care about the aesthetics. And they look terrible, and there's one particular fence I walk by frequently that every time I walk by it, I grit my teeth and say, we've got to get this fence out of here. It's terrible. And I am sympathetic to the city's desire to not fence off yards and put big fencing between residential yards and the rest of the neighborhood. I've always been an advocate for front porches because it brings people to the street. This is a busy road, so it's different than a lot of residential streets. The petitioner makes very persuasive arguments about safety, and it is a very unusual situation in terms of the traffic. When I looked at it today, I was inclined to vote no, because the fence, I have to say, the fence along Sheridan is equally aesthetically beautiful, and I was thinking to myself, why couldn't they just put that fence along the one that's not 100% opaque along Washtenaw? My sense was the sound, the traffic sound is another issue, and that could be handled with vegetation and with landscaping. And I've seen that done in numerous places and very effectively. So I was thinking, oh, well, if it's just about the sound, you can put landscaping to mitigate the sound issues, but the petitioner really makes very persuasive arguments about safety on this stretch. There aren't very many 45-mile-an-hour stretches, and like I said, I drive this frequently. People go 55 along here. They have signs up for deer collisions, and I'm sure there have been deer collisions along there. People winging by at night and a deer comes off the county farm park or something. I don't know the numbers, but it would not surprise me. I don't know how I'm going to vote. I was inclined when I saw this that I would vote no. But the petitioner's safety arguments are very persuasive. I could vote yes. I'd like to hear from other board members.
Mike?
Great points by everyone so far on the board. This is a close one for me, but just given the rarity of roads in Ann Arbor of this speed and the fact that it's a corner lot, to me, that's unique enough to, given the, again, very persuasive presentation, that I'm going to vote for this.
Patty?
I'm going to also just mirror Mike's comments. I think that the arguments that they put together were based in fact and evidence, and it was very persuasive as well. And so I'll be supporting this, as well as the neighbor's testimony, right? They're all pleased with the fence because it sounds like that, in addition to, providing aid or protection to the homeowner, it also is projecting aid and comfort to their neighbors as well, right? Because it blocks their peer view of Washtenaw Road as well.
I'm struggling with this one myself. I recognize, Christina and Julie, your arguments and generally support those, but as Mike and Patty and Dave mentioned, some of that sways me as well. For me, I think part of it is the distance that the fence is from the street itself. I think is swaying me a little bit more toward supporting it. That and the fact that there are no driveways or, other than Sheridan itself going out onto Washtenaw, their driveway's not going out onto Washtenaw, so there's less of a concern about that fence creating a visual impediment to someone that's traveling down the sidewalk, maybe, that needs to be seen by someone that's pulling out or pulling in. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure yet where I'm gonna go.
I'd be ready to read a motion.
I wanted to just say something too.
Sure.
I want to thank you for Darva to correct me on what I said earlier about Washtenaw Ave, and I said it was, why not a city solution, but it's a state. It would be up to the purview of the state, not the city. So thanks for clarifying that.
Any other discussion?
ZBA 25-0035, 1795 Sheridan Drive. In accordance with established standards for approval, the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants a variance of 2 feet in height and 50% opacity from Section 5.26.2.b, Table 5.26-1, height and opacity standards for fences. If granted, the variance will allow the existing 6-foot-tall, 100% opaque fence in the front yard to remain. The fence is to remain in its current location and configuration.
We have a motion, do we have support?
Support.
Who said that? Patty? Thank you. Mike?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Dave?
DeVarty, yes.
Christina?
No.
Patty?
Yes.
Julie?
No.
I vote yes. Dharma?
Yes.
The request is granted. Moving on to petition ZBA 25-0036, 405 South Main Street. John, are you doing this? Yes, right, John.
I'm John Barrett, zoning coordinator for the city of Ann Arbor. This is 405 South Main Street. Danielle Perkins, representing the Stubborn Brothers Pizza Restaurant, is requesting a variance from section 5.24.5A2, and included in that section is table 5.24-2, D1, D2, and C1AR district permanent signs of the Unified Development Code. A variance request of 100 square feet for permanent signs is being requested for a new restaurant located inside the existing standard multiple family residential dwelling building. The building has currently approximately 102 square feet of existing signs, and the applicants are proposing to install a 198 square foot sign package. The subject property is permitted to have 200 square feet of permanent signs. If granted, the variance would allow the building to have approximately 300 square feet of signage. The property is zoned D2 Downtown Interface District. The subject property is located at the southeast corner of South Main Street and East William Street. The new restaurant business will be on the first floor of the Standard Building. The Standard Building is a 10-story apartment building with approximately 238 units. The project was completed in October of 2022. Section 5.24.5A1 states that each building in the mixed-use zoning districts other than D1 and D2 and C1AR and non-residential and special purpose zoning districts is permitted 2 square feet of sign area per linear foot of building frontage up to a maximum of 200 square feet of sign area for permanent signs. So this building qualifies for that, so that is why they are qualifying for the 200 square feet of signage. The applicants are requesting the following sign package. 2 double-sided projecting tomato signs that are 19.25 square feet each for a total of 38.5 square feet in area for both signs. A pizza by the slice sign that is 18 square feet in area, a Stubborn Brother Pizza Bar sign that is 30 square feet in area, and then the main Stubborn Brother Pizza Bar sign that is 111 square feet in total area. If you'll turn your attention to the monitors, you see the first slide before us is the zoning map. You see the subject property highlighted in blue in the center of your screen, and the surrounding properties. We got some D1 around it, and some PUD and R4C, and some D2. So it's a myriad of zoning districts surrounding this subject property. The next slide is the location map, and it shows surrounding properties and existing conditions. And the next slide is the zoomed-in aerial photo of the subject building, subject property, and the business is going to be on the north end along East William Street. This is the survey that was submitted with the application. Just additional information because we don't require surveys for wall signs, but it was available, so the applicant provided it. These are some renderings that were submitted with the application of the kind of a renderings, conceptual design of the finished product. This is the conceptual design of the sign package. You see the two Stubborn Brother tomato signs, which those are difficult to calculate just because of the stems and the roundness of the sign. So that's why we agreed with the applicant that this is a 100 square foot sign package. We struggled with calculating the signage. We did our best. And you see this is a elevation of one of those signs, and it's going to be projecting. I believe this is probably going to be on the East William side. Here's another one of the Pizza by the Slice sign above a door. Another is the Stubborn Brother Pizza Bar sign above a door. This is the main sign that's being proposed across windows and on top of the awnings or canopy. These are the photos that we took on our site visit. This is looking along East William to the west, and the business is going to have north-facing windows on this side of the frontage. This is more along East William. This is looking down south Main Street. And that is looking down William towards the east. These are the existing signs, and also those were extremely difficult to calculate, as you can tell, but we did our best. That's one of the existing signs, and that is the other one. And that's at the south west corner of the building. That concludes my presentation at this time, and I will take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, John. Questions? Deborah?
This may be a question for the petitioner, and I'll ask staff first. Is this the only retail space that exists in the building, or can we expect additional signage requests in the future because there's existing retail?
So currently there's the leasing office that you saw and so I wouldn't call it retail, it's more of a leasing office for the building itself, leasing center, securing leases for future tenants. And then I believe the applicant can correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're taking up 2 or 3 of the tenant suites, 3 of them, all.
It could be 2 or 3.
It's going to be 2 or 3. It's going to be a large restaurant that's going to occupy probably almost all of the retail space that was provided, yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's the best answer I can provide to you right now.
Julie?
So, John, can you clarify, just the section 524, 5A.1, each building in mixed-use zoning districts other than D1, D2, and C1AR and non-residential and special purpose zoning districts is permitted 2 square feet of sign area, blah, blah, blah. But this is D2. So is there another number if it's?
don't know where that second sentence comes from. So the code says 5.24.5, permanent signs, D1, D2, and C1AR. Each building in the D1, D2, and C1AR district is permitted 2 square feet of sign area per linear foot of building frontage, up to a maximum 200 square feet of sign area for permanent
So
signs.
it's not other than.
No, it's not. No.
Okay.
That
I
must,
was just confused there.
no. I don't know. It may be, it's a typo in the report, and I apologize. Because the code is right here, it says it's, every district, that's the maximum. Every district we have, whether it's commercial, residential, every mixed-use district is allowed 200 square feet, maximum, so.
Dave?
Do you know how many, so there's linear footage on 3 different streets here, on William, Main, and Packard, and I believe when I was there earlier, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the standard sign, there's a sign on Packard for the standard, I believe. So that's on one of the linear street frontages. But the linear frontage on this significantly exceeds I'm just wondering how many linear feet we have on this building that has 3 frontages on streets.
I don't know what the linear footage is, but each building, the maximum amount you can have is 200, where you've got 1,000 linear feet or 100.
Well, I can understand that kind of a requirement, but the unusual thing about this is its frontages on 3 streets. If there's access or business access or residential apartment rental signage on Packard, for example, that's like less than 70 feet per frontage. And Maine is huge, and I look at the way the design is, it's designed to look like multiple buildings, not as one.
Dave, you're doing a great job of making an argument for the petitioner right now.
Well,
I want to commend you for it.
I may be doing that.
Yeah,
but
you are.
But I want to know how many feet this is. It's like 200 square feet of signage becomes ridiculously small for that kind of linear frontage.
Thank you for making their argument for them, Dave.
Okay, you're welcome.
I mean,
Any other
Okay,
questions?
that's my question.
Questions for John? All right, you have sign and state your name. You'll have 5 minutes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gabrielle Mancy, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. I am part owner of the Stubborn Brother Pizza Bar in Toledo, Ohio, with my husband John, who's sitting behind me, and my son Andrew, who is presently working in the Toledo restaurant. Danielle Perkins is our Director of Expansion and Operations. She is also present. Stubborn Brother is a family-owned and operated business. We opened our first location in 2018 on the University of Toledo's campus, where we specialize in New York-style pizza and pizza by the slice. All of our food is made in-house, from scratch daily, using high-quality ingredients. We're thrilled to be opening a second store in the vibrant city of Ann Arbor. I'm here today to request approval for a variance to allow Stubborn Brother an additional 100 square feet in total for our exterior signage. I'm also requesting that you allow an additional projecting sign on South Main Street. As we begin our process of leasing the space to add a restaurant, our excitement grew as we made trips north. This building, the standard of 405 South Main Street, is gorgeous and an ideal location for pizza to dine in and a carry-out space. Our signs that we have designed are intentional, efficient, and gives everyone that first great impression. We're actually leasing 2 separate retail spaces on the first floor of the standard building. Retail space number 1, which is the kitchen and main dining room, and then retail space number 2 is our kitchen and carryout room. Due to the layout of the space and the way our concepts function, we operate with 2 separate entrances on 2 separate streets, one dedicated to dining guests and one dedicated for takeout service. This separation is intentional and essential to maintaining smooth pedestrian flow, especially in high-traffic, student-dense area like this intersection. The standard houses 230 units, or 800-plus beds. Zoning law states a max of 200 square foot per building. The standard's 2 large signs take up about 50% of that allotted amount. Their signs are 102 square feet. Ours will be 194.59, which is a new number from our sign company. They're a little different than what you have. So each business, technically, in that building would get a third of the allotted signage allowed with this variance. Using our restaurant guests as an example, Stubborn Brother will have an average of 400 people a day looking for Stubborn Brother's front entrance, probably even more when we first open, either from their car or as a pedestrian on the sidewalk. Times 365 days, that's 109,500 times a year people are going to be looking for our main entrance. I bet the standard, with their 800 beds, will have about 2,000 people a year looking for their entrances. We really need this additional square footage for clear and concise direction for our guests and visitors to the city of Ann Arbor. So I brought a little presentation board. It's the same thing that you have up there, but I put the signages of ours and then the standard sign up here with the numbers. And here's our main sign. Then we have the sign over our front door entrance. Then we got the sign over our slice pickup window, carry-out room entrance. These projecting signs kind of give the boundaries of the restaurant itself. The 2, one here on Williams and the other on Main. There already is a projecting sign on Main, and the ordinance says you can only have 1 per business. So we actually literally could have ours over here as well because there's another business. And then we have 2 little 4 foot each, both sides, signs to direct the pedestrians on the sidewalk where the front door and where the carryout is. So if you put those final numbers together, it's Stubborn Brother, 194.59 square feet. Standard building is 102. We'd ask your consideration for 100 more square feet and 1 more projecting sign on Main, South Main. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions for the petitioners?
I guess I have one question.
Okay.
So you're based in Toledo.
Yes.
The Michigan and Ohio fought a war many years ago over Toledo, and we got the UP, which was a great resolution.
I love the UP.
I'm just curious, are you Buckeye supporters or Wolverine supporters?
I plead the 5th.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for
We're in the border war. The center of it.
Any other questions for the petitioners? Oh, Mike.
Do these signs, I assume, light up at night, right?
Not all of them. The projecting tomato signs will have a spotlight on them. The main channel over the main door will. It's a channel sign, which the lights will be behind it, behind the red. And then ones over the doors are the marquee. They'll have the light bulbs in them.
Do those go off after business closes, or do they stay on all night?
That's a good question. I would assume they stay on the whole time.
Okay.
They're going to be required to be extinguished after the close of business.
They're required to be
Okay.
extinguished?
Yes, we have an outdoor.
Good to know.
We have an outdoor lighting ordinance that requires all new businesses and all new signage to be extinguished after the close of business.
Okay.
And I would assume that would be very neighborly with the residential above.
That's what I was alluding
Yeah.
to. That's
Yep.
people living right above the signs, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're going to have to meet the requirements of the code.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was allowed to stay on
All
the
that
land or
on the
not.
second floor.
You're not allowed to talk yet.
Yes, we'll put timers on them.
Cool, great, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. If there's anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this petition, now is your opportunity to do so. If you're here in person, please come forward. If you are accessing remotely, please press *9 or use the raise hand button.
Well, I was just going to say, the second floor is basically...
Can you come up to the microphone,
I'm
just so
sorry.
we can...
The second floor, most of it is either pool, conference room. On the Main Street side, seems to be a lot of
The residents really don't start until the floor above.
the
So
floor
it's
above.
common area of some kind.
Common areas, that's the
Yeah.
word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Any remote callers?
We do not have any remote callers at this time.
Thank you, Eric. We did not receive any correspondence on this petition in our packet, so with that, the public hearing is closed and we are in discussion. Dave?
My previous question was, really gave a sense of my thinking on this, which I won't reiterate, but I went by there today and was taken by how much linear footage there is and the design of the building and what I thought was a ridiculously small amount of allowance for signage for the three sides of this building, considering the multiple uses here. What I do want to add to the questioning I made earlier is the response of the petitioner to the variance approved shall be the minimum variance that will make possible a reasonable use of the land or structure. I feel that this response or the request is a bare minimum. I've seen so many requests come before our board that ask for so much more than this, and I just have to commend the petitioner for keeping their request to a minimal ask. It's going to be very easy for me to support this, and I hope my other colleagues on the board support it as well.
John?
Comment/question, and I'm not sure who's appropriate to respond to it. First, let me just say I'm excited to see a ground level business going into this spot because it's kind of dead at this point. But please don't have your people park in the bike lane. It's a huge problem right there. What obligation, I understand that the applicant did not impose this difficulty on themselves, but what obligation does the building owner, which I assume is the standard, have to not using up all of the signage space when they have other businesses going in?
Is that a question for me?
I guess so, if you...
So I'm not sure if they're about obligations, but I would hope at some point that this entire building will be 100% occupied, and there will be no longer a need for that leasing space, and maybe the removal of at least one, if not both signs, and then or maybe one sign just for identification, but maybe remove the other one and just have a leasing office on the window. And so,
another solution to this could be that the person that's leasing out the space could say, maybe we don't need to suck up all of the signage because we have businesses that we want to go in here.
I can't speak for the standard, but from a marketing standpoint, you would think that, they would take into consideration that they're going to have commercial space that's going to need signage and, calculate their signage along with the potential future tenant signage and meet the code.
I appreciate that. That's something that I'm
Not to speak out of turn, but the equity partner, the equity owner for this building is in Abu Dhabi. It'll probably take you 6 months to get an answer.
Well, I won't be asking them, but I think the point is this is a new building, and I do think that building owners have an obligation, especially when this, I think, came online probably after our sign ordinance, to be a little bit planful of what they plan to do with their mixed-use building and not use up all of the signage on housing. That's my opinion.
Any other comments? You ready for a motion?
Okay. This is it. ZBA 25-0036, 405 South Main Street. In accordance with standards for approval, the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants a variance of 100 square feet in area from Section 5.24.5.A.2, Table 5.24-2-D1, D2, and C1A/R District Permanent Signs. The maximum area of all sign types on the property is 200 square feet, and the applicant is proposing 300 square feet of sign area. The sign is to be installed per the submitted, or the signs, plural, are to be installed per the submitted plans.
Thank you, Dave. We have a motion. Do we have support? Thank you, Drew. Christina?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I also vote yes. Dharma?
No.
Mike?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
The request is granted.
Thank you.
Moving on to unfinished business, we have none. New business, reports from council. Dharma?
The only thing I have to report is that we're excited to get the comprehensive land use plan. I think it's coming in late February. Yeah, so looking forward to that, and hopefully I'll be able to report on it next time or the meeting after.
All right, sounds good. Next, we have election of officers. So we do have a vacant vice chair position. So I'm accepting nominations for vice chair. Dharma is not eligible as the city council rep.
I'd like to
Anyone
nominate
else is-
Mike Daniel for vice chair.
Mike, do you accept the nomination?
I accept Dave's nomination.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair? All right. All in favor of approving Mike Daniel as our new vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Congratulations, Mike. You are the new vice chairperson of ZBA.
Does that mean he moves over closer to you?
Come with free Stubber Brothers pizza?
You guys are all welcome.
Moving on to communication, we have addressed all of the items that we received in our packets as part of the petitions. Public comment. If there is anyone from the public who wishes to speak to the ZBA on any matter whatsoever, now is your opportunity to do so. Please come forward if you're in person, or if you're accessing remotely, please press *9 or use the raise hand button.
Can I make a public comment?
Certainly, Dave.
My name is Dave DeVardi. I'm born and raised here in Ann Arbor. I spent a majority of my life in public service in many capacities. On Saturday, a fellow community in the Midwest, Minneapolis, experienced another tragic incident resulting in the death of somebody who was just speaking out peacefully on the streets of Minneapolis against the oppressive conduct of ICE agents. Tonight, I'd like to read a poem by Amanda Gorman, the National Poet Laureate. This is something I've agonized over. This other urban areas much bigger, some smaller than Ann Arbor. In Ypsilanti, parents were being pulled off the streets yesterday by ICE agents at school bus stops. This poem, for Alex Jeffrey Preddy, murdered by ICE January 24th, 2026 by Amanda Gorman. We wake with no words, just woe and wound. Our own country shooting us in the back is not just brutality, it's jarring betrayal. Not enforcement, but execution. A message, love your people and you will die. Yet our greatest threat isn't the outsiders among us, but those among us who never look within. Fear not those without papers, but those without conscience. Know that to care intensively, united, is to carry both pain, dark horror for today, and a profound, daring hope for tomorrow. We can feel we have nothing to give and still beloved this world waiting, trembling to change. If we cannot find words, may we find the will. If we ever lose hope, may we never lose our humanity. The only undying thing is mercy, the courage to open ourselves like doors, hug our neighbor, and save one more bright, impossible life. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Any other comments? All right, with that, do we have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Drew. Support? Thank you, Dharma. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.